everybody, welcome to the podcast, the Project Investigation Collaboration brought to you by the Veritas Project. And as always, we are here with the founder and our gracious host, the founder of the Veritas Project, Robert Curtis.
Hello.
AKA Wiki Bob. This guy knows more about the paranormal than I will ever. He's probably forgotten more than I'll ever learn. And I am lead investigator Todd Boyer, and welcome to the podcast, everybody, and welcome to the TikTok viewers down here. Welcome to the podcast. So, this week we're going to be talking about Jack the Ripper, because they announced a few weeks ago that they actually know who Jack the Ripper is. So we're going to do a deep dive into Jack the Ripper here in a minute, but we always have, in local news, like us news kind of stuff. So Bob and I are both rolling around the studio tonight because we ate way too much. Yeah. We had Friendsgiving. We had Robin and Amy, who are moderators for us, and then they're friends of ours, personal friends. Yeah. And we had Friendsgiving, and I started a big ass pot roast at 8 o'clock this morning.
It was good.
And and we made the stuffing made from White Castles. Yeah. For all those of you who know who White Castles is, we found a recipe to make White Castle stuffing. And we all ate way too much.
That was amazing.
It was so good. And then we had cheesecake for dessert.
That's what we're having for Thanksgiving from now on. We're not making...
That pot roast was great.
We're not making regular stuffing ever again.
Oh, the White Castle stuffing was fantastic.
I don't care what Angie says. We're eating White Castle stuffing.
It was good. It was real good.
Yeah.
So, but anything else going on?
Not really. It's been a weird time in the paranormal because the news is so fired up about politics. Yeah. That they haven't been doing the paranormal stuff. So right. What are you gonna do? Right.
So I today passed out a lot of our cards today. Yeah. And talked to a few businesses in hopes that we'll get an investigation in downtown Old Town St. Charles.
That'd be awesome.
So we're working on that, trying to get us out there. Also, guys, if you have any ghost stories, paranormal stories, Bigfoot, you name it, send to us. If you're watching us on TikTok for the first time, shoot either Bob or myself. I'm down here. Please follow us both. Give us a lot of taps. We'd really appreciate any likes that you guys tap on for us. But follow either Bob or myself, or both of us preferably, and then just shoot us a message about a paranormal story, and we'll get as detailed as you could possibly get. Yeah. We will actually make it into a podcast. We don't have to name your name if you don't want us to. We'll just say, hey, a watcher sent us this, and we'll do a deep dive into it and give our opinion on it, and we'll go from there. Let's see, what else? Oh, Lemp Mansion coming up August 11th. Yep. A lot of interest this year. Yeah, we're awesome. Actually looking for a large group of 4 people. That's going to be the hardest room to rent out, is the 4-person room. So the one upstairs. The what do you call it? The servants' quarters. Yeah. So that's going to be the hardest one to rent out. The rooms are about figure about $100 per bed space. And that room's got two queen size beds. So that's what it rents out at. But you come down here, you hang out with Bob and I. We take you to the Cahokia Mountains, which is a lost civilization here in St. Louis. We go have a wonderful lunch. We go back to the Lemp Mansion, get the keys, and they leave. And it's our mansion for about 20 hours at that point. So we'll do a good time. Late night live investigation, which last year, and we will do again this year, we'll do the whole investigation live on TikTok. Yeah. Bob and I will do a special podcast from the Lemp Mansion like we did last year, and then we will just stay live and do multiple hour investigation. The only problem is we run out of battery juice. That's the only thing. Right. Going live for so long sucks on the batteries pretty hard. So, so we got that coming up. So, also we got somebody new on Patreon. Yeah. So we have a new Patreon. Thank you, Kim, for joining our Patreon family. How about that? You will be immortalized at the end of the podcast. Yeah, there will be a slide. A new card now. Yep, you got to make a new slide for Kim. Add Kim. If you do become a $5 Patreon member, you will get a Bob's wife, Angie, She's a graphic designer. She designs us postcards, and we will send you a postcard, a Veritas Project postcard every month.
Yeah.
So if you want to become a Patreon member, and then you can go to Teespring and get all the merch and stuff. So, all right, that's all out of the way.
Team, you can have the,
yep. Part of the team. And there are some limited merch. There's, like, if you come to the Lemp Mansion, there is limited Lemp Mansion merch that you can only get if you come to the Lemp Mansion.
Yep.
You know, someday Bob and I might become famous. You never know.
Yeah, it could be worth something.
So there you go. You'd be like, look, I have one of these limited 10 T-shirts.
Right.
You know, so someday. Big hopes, big dreams, right? So without further ado, let's get into Jack the Ripper. Now, Jack the Ripper is the name that was given to an unidentified serial killer who terrorized Whitechapel, London in 1888. Now, the murders primarily targeted female prostitutes and were characterized by extreme mutilation and apparent understanding of human anatomy. And the press sensationalized the killings, and the case became one of the most infamous unsolved crimes in history. Well, we've got news for you.
Yeah.
They have been solved.
It's solved.
So at the end of the podcast, we will let you know who the killer is.
Exactly.
So it says here, the killer was never caught, and his true identity remains unknown, which is untrue. So, but theories and suspects have been proposed over the years. The canonical five are the officially 5 recognized victims, though some believe Jack the Ripper may have killed more. So we're going to start off. I believe these are in chronological order. They are chronological order of the victims, and a little brief about them and how the crime scenes were set up. So Mary Ann Nichols, also known as Polly, she was unalived August 31st, 1818, and she was found on Bucks Row, which is now Durward Street in Whitechapel. And she was found at 3:40 a.m. by a cart driver named Charles Cross, and her throat had been deeply cut twice, deep gashes on her abdomen, and there were no witnesses or signs of a struggle. So that was number one, and then just within a week, right? So Mary Nichols was the confirmed first victim, though some believe others were killed earlier in 1888. So Ann Chapman was our second victim. So Anne was unalived September 8th, 1888, so a week later, and she was found at 29 Hanbury Street in Spitalfields, and she was found at 6 a.m. by a resident named John Davis. Once again, throat cut nearly to the spine. So, I mean, that's deep, deep. Her abdomen was slashed open, her intestines were pulled out, her uterus was removed, and that kind of suggests that somebody had some kind of surgical knowledge.
Right.
You know, to be going this detailed into the unalivings. And a witness claims to have seen Chapman talking to a man with a dark complexion and a foreign appearance just before her murder. Okay. So that's 2 down.
Yeah.
So September 30th, it looks like he took a little break there for a bit, for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
He unalived Elizabeth Stride. So September 30th of 1888 in Dutfield's Yards, Burner Street. Now, was that Henrique Street?
Yeah.
Now, she was found at 1 a.m. by a cart driver named Louis Dimschultz. Unlike the others, only her throat was cut. And no abdominal mutilation, leading many to believe the killer was interrupted. So, or it could have been a copycat.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's thrown in there. I mean, that's a possibility. You know, you got a lot of those copycats out there. Somebody might have figured, well, maybe I could take out this person and I'll think it was Jack the Ripper.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, the crazy thing with that one is Stride's murder was actually occurred 45 minutes before the next killing, which took place nearby. So that would lead to the fact that they believe he was interrupted. The next killing was almost immediately after. So, Catherine Eddowes, September 30th, 1888, same night as Elizabeth, right? near Midder Square in the city of London. Now, she was found at 1:45 by a constable on patrol, throat slash, face mutilated. Her nose was actually cut off, and deep cuts were made in her cheeks. Her kidney and part of her uterus were removed. Blood-stained pieces of her apron were found in Golston Street near a message scrawled on the wall. I don't even want to say this.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's anti-Semitic, so we're gonna pass.
Yeah,
on
we're gonna get banned for certain.
Yeah, we don't want to say that. So basically, it was an anti-Semitic message written on the wall. So our last one is Mary Jane Kelly. Now, she was found a week later, November 9th.
In the Spitalfields again.
Yep, in the Spitalfields again. So she was found actually at 10:45 a.m., which was kind of odd, by the landlord's assistant. Most horrific of all the murders. Body completely mutilated, almost unrecognizable, skin stripped from her face. Her organs, including her heart, were removed and placed around the room. So Mary Jane Kelly was the only victim murdered indoors, giving the killer time for extreme mutilation. After this murder, the killing stopped.
Right.
But there's a reason for that once we get to the actual, tell you guys who the actual murderer was.
Right.
So now our suspects, right, start with Montague John Druitt.
Did we have to?
No, we got them all. I scrolled.
Okay.
I scrolled. We got them all. So now he was born in 1857, and in 1888 he actually unalived himself. Now, he was a Bristol school teacher with reported mental instability, and the reason why he was a suspect was he was found drowned in the Thames in December of 1888, shortly after the last murder, right? Because the last one took place in November. Mm-hmm. He was found in December, right? So some police officers believe that he was the man because he committed suicide.
Right.
So, but there was no concrete evidence to even tie him to the crimes. It was just speculation. So then we have Michael Ostrog, and he was born in 1833, and they don't know when he died, just sometime after 1904, and he was a Russian criminal and con man with a history of fraud and violence, and he was mentioned in a police report as a suspect, and had a criminal record, but no proven history of unaliving people. So... excuse me. And then we have Dr. Francis Tumbletti, which obviously the doctor plays in because of, you know, the mutilations. Now, he was born in 1833, passed in 1903, and he was an Irish-American doctor who made money selling herbal remedies. Now, he was arrested for gross indecency with young men in 1888 and reportedly had a deep hatred for women. And he fled to the U.S. after the murders, fueling the suspicions.
Yeah. You know where he fled to? St. Louis.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. He had a house at the corner of Cherokee Street.
Right on. That's right up there by the Lemp Mansion.
Yep.
Our paranormal home right there.
Yep. So Francis Tumblety lived right down the street from the Lemps.
That's hilarious.
Yep. Right down the street from Anheuser-Busch today.
Yep. So James Maybrick, he was born in 1838, passed in 1889, allegedly poisoned by his wife. His background is, he was a Liverpool cotton merchant with an addiction to arsenic, and a diary surfaced in 1990s claiming he was Jack the Ripper, but its authenticity is debated.
Right.
So, with a lot of other things out there. And then we have Thomas Cutbush, born 1865. He passed in 1903 in a mental asylum. Lived in Whitechapel, known to have attacked women with a knife, and some newspapers just claimed he was the Ripper.
Right.
Right. So he was committed to an asylum after the murder stopped. And then we have Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence, born 1864. Died 1892. He was the grandson of Queen Victoria, and he was suspected because, conspiracy theories claim he was involved, but there's no solid evidence. Royal family records place him elsewhere during the murders. And then last but not least, we have Aaron Kosminski. Now, he was born 1865, and he actually lasted the longest. He passed in 1919 in a mental asylum. He was a Polish-Jewish barber who lived in Whitechapel. And why was he suspected? Well, he was mentally unstable, had violent tendencies, and a witness allegedly identified him but refused to testify.
Right.
And in 2019, DNA from the shawl found near victim was linked to Kosminski, but the evidence is disputed.
Right. And to provide a little bit of background, a barber back in that time wasn't just a person who cuts hair.
Right.
They were also... They were
basically the doctor.
Yeah. The term was actually barber surgeon. So a barber would remove teeth. Mm-hmm. They would excise tumors. They would do... Basically, it was like your general practitioner doctor.
Right.
And then the doctor was the guy at the hospital that did, like, major surgery.
Right.
So, like, your local doctor was the barber surgeon.
Yep.
So...
And that's Aaron Kosminski's profession.
Right.
So, they've come to the conclusion, they went back, right, and they retested that DNA.
Right.
And they believe that Aaron Kosminski was Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
The BBC came out with this just a short time ago.
Yeah, on the 31st.
On the 31st.
So it was just 2 weeks ago.
And they have come forward and said that...
Yeah, it's 100% positive that the DNA from his items that he had in the asylum matches the DNA that was on the shawl, and it 100% would stand up in a court today. And
the reasons why they stopped was because he was sent to the asylum.
Up in the loony bin.
Also, like Bob said, he was a barber, so he would have the knowledge to remove the kidneys and the heart and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Also, he would have all the sharp implements needed to carry out these murders.
That's one of the things that they said in the police. The medical examiner at the time said that the incisions were made with a what is it called? The bisturi knife, which is a long Napoleonic for like amputating things fast, basically. Right. And the Aaron Kosminski, as a barber surgeon, would have a bisturi knife in his possession. Right. So that was one of the things that stood out to me when I first saw this way back, that they said that they suspected that the person used this specific surgical tool.
Right, because there's been a lot of documentaries on it,
right. Oh, and extravagant claims over the years,
right. But now that the DNA testing and that kind of stuff has gotten so good that they were able to come out and say, yes, it was 100% him. Yep. So for 140 years, his mystery gripped the world, and now he's been identified with a 100% DNA match. The researcher who says he received Jack the Ripper's identity has told of his joy at finding the 100% match, and Russell Edwards' bombshell finding has led to descendants of the victim to call for an inquest in hopes of finding closure. Right. So they're wanting everything re-looked into and everything else to get this all closed up. So they extracted DNA from the shawl that was recovered from the scene and of one of the scenes, and claimed the murder was Aaron, and he was the barber from Poland. Is how they put it in this article. Right. But it's very difficult to put into words the elation that people have felt that these families of these people who, even though it was 100 years ago, I mean, that's, if you think about it, that's like probably their great-grandparents.
Oh, yeah, they
know what I mean? So
there's a relative of Catherine Eddowes that talks about in that article.
Nice. So he can't be prosecuted, obviously, because he passed away 100 years ago. Right. But it does bring closure to these families. He was committed for his atrocities towards their ancestors and whatnot. He was committed, just his general violent nature. So, and with the help of genealogists, Mr. Edwards found a living relative of Kaminsky who was happy to share her DNA for his to be tested against. So one of his relatives came up and said, you know, yep, absolutely, test my DNA.
Yep.
And boom, there you have it. There you are. So when the positive match for Mr. Edwards, they realized that he may have finally confirmed the murder. So Karen Miller, 53, who is an ancestor of Catherine Eddowes, says it's time for an inquest to name the killer, and that's why they came forward with this information on the news. So
we have the proof.
Yep.
Now it's time to have the inquest and then make the finding.
Right.
So they can say finally that it was Aaron Kosminski. It wasn't John Druid or Michael Ostrog or Francis Tumblety.
Right.
So all the families of these people that have been accused for over 100 years can finally say,
you know, this isn't right.
No, it wasn't Francis Tumblety. It wasn't John Druid. It was Aaron Kosminski.
And these were heinous, like...
Oh, yeah.
Mutilation murders. I mean, but yay, we finally have closure.
Right.
I mean, this is one of the, you know, I mean, this is a big thing, especially in the paranormal world. You know, this is one of the biggest, you know, and the people who like the crime scene dramas, this is like one of the biggest mysteries out there.
Oh, yeah.
So now we finally have closure on it.
Like the gateway drug for a lot of people to get into that.
Yeah, get down there, go through that rabbit hole and, you know, go check all this out. You know, like I said, it's kind of funny that he was Jewish, but yet there was, you know, anti-Semitic stuff written on all. I wonder if he was trying to shake... If he was trying to shake the police off as, you know...
Right. Leave something that was misspelled, too.
Yeah.
I wonder if because he was Polish, maybe he wasn't good at writing in English. You know what I mean?
That's a possibility. Well, and it was found scrawled on the wall. Doesn't say what it was scrawled in. Doesn't say it was blood or anything like that. So it was in chalk. So
yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, there's that rabbit hole for you guys to go down yourselves now.
Now you know.
So now you know. We've come clean to you guys.
First.
You heard it. Yep. Well, BBC said it first, but we're probably the first podcast on it. I'd say
we're leaking it out to everybody.
We're getting a jump on it. As soon as we found out Monday, we're like, yep, that's what we're doing.
Yep, that's what we're doing.
That's our next podcast. So
yeah, what was that Johnny Depp movie that was about the? Oh man,
Sweeney Todd.
No, about Jack the Ripper.
Oh, no idea.
He was the cop who was tracking down Jack the Ripper.
I don't remember. I kind of remember it, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like
Heather Graham played the prostitute.
So.
Oh man, I can't think what it is off the top of my head. That's a really good movie though. But in that movie, they tried to make it out to be it was the Queen's surgeon that was protecting the whatever the. Was it Thomas Cutbush? That guy?
Right.
What?
Yeah, so, you know, if you're new, follow Bob and myself. If you're watching up here on the YouTube, like, comment, share. You know, we do podcasts every week. Come in, join us, hang out on Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on TikTok, where we do these podcasts live.
Yeah. We started a little early today.
We did. No, we actually started at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
But, you know, if you enjoy the paranormal, the conspiracy theory, all the strange and weird and wacky stuff out there in the universe, you know, come hang out with us. Also, like I said, if you've got any kind of ghost story, any kind of unexplained story, UFO, cryptid, you know, shoot us a message. You know, let us know about it. We'll gladly. If you go back, it was about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, we did one called the what was it, Stranger in the Forest or something like that.
The Watcher in the Woods.
Watcher in the Woods. There you go. You know, that was actually a
viewer submission.
A viewer submission that we went over and talked about and get very detailed. Give us that information, and we'll make a podcast out of it.
Yeah, and you can also give us a suggestion if you want.
Oh yeah,
a further rabbit hole into us. You know,
you want us to go deeper into something.
Our opinion about something that happened,
which we've had that happen a couple times. We have a couple people say, "Hey, why don't you guys do this?" Next week we did that. So we're always looking for suggestions. You know, we've come up with, roughly, 60 or 70 suggestions of our own.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep things fresh,
No, it wasn't Sweeney Todd. I got to look it up.
You got Bob totally into looking up the name of this movie now.
Right.
So.
From Hell.
From Hell?
Yep. 2001 movie From Hell with Johnny Depp and Heather Graham.
There you go. You and Angie need to watch it and do a review on it.
Jack the Ripper movie. I love it. I've seen it a bunch of times.
There you go. There's an idea for your podcast.
Yeah. Johnny Depp is a
podcast.
Heroin, opium-addicted Scotland Yard investigator, and he's trying to track down the Jack the Ripper.
Right. And if you're watching us down here on TikTok, if you go to YouTube, look up the Veritas Project, or if you do Project Investigation Collaboration, that'll take you right to the podcast. If you like anything paranormal, we do that.
Yep.
If you like horror movies, Bob and his wife do movie reviews every week. So, if you're into that kind of thing, the spooky movies, they've got that covered. Got a million shorts out there.
Yeah.
So
we try to put out 2 a day, so that's a lot.
It is. It's very difficult to put out a couple videos a day. I know some people who put out a lot of videos a day, but I ain't got that kind of time, brother. Somebody asked me, because I used to put out a lot of videos on one of my other accounts, they're like, oh, you don't use CapCut? And I'm like, no, I would go through and hand edit every one of those videos, and it would take me 40 minutes of video to record, and record to the quality that I wanted to record to, and then go through and add music and cut everything, and yep, that's a monster. Let's use CapCut or whatever. But we don't do that here.
No, we don't.
We do have one that helps make our shorts a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and they turn out pretty darn good. So, but thank you for joining us. Lamp Mansion, August 11th.
Yep.
Coming up. Call the Lamp Mansion. Get your room booked for that. Patreon. Become a $5 Patreon member. You get those postcards every month. And did we mail the new ones out? I know we signed them last week. Okay, so they should be hopefully there before they're a Valentine's Day card, and hopefully they'll be there before Valentine's Day. Sasquatch Cupid. Yep. Teespring. Get your merchandise.
Yeah.
Get you one of these snazzy hoodies.
Yep.
And then what's it say on the back?
It says it's our logo.
It says the whole truth.
The whole truth.
On the back.
Yep.
So we're all about finding the truth out there.
They wouldn't let me trademark that part.
Oh, that's a bummer. So we got logo. You get T-shirts. You can get all kinds of good stuff. Every month when the postcards come out, you can get those postcards on a T-shirt if you're interested in those,
or a sticker,
or whatever. All kinds of different stuff.
Mug.
Yep. Send us those submissions. Bob is the Real Veritas Project at gmail.com, and I'm investigator.todd.paranormal@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. I'm Investigator Todd on everything, and Bob is R.S. Curtis or the Real Veritas Project and all his other social medias. And follow us, because if this platform does go down, we will probably be switching to Instagram.
Yeah.
Because Bob has a very large following over on Instagram. So we'll probably be switching over there to do the lives. So, think that covers everything?
Yeah.
Think we're good? Guys, thank you once again for joining us on TikTok. Please follow both Bob and I if you're new. Thanks for all the likes, the comments, the shares. Here on the YouTube, please subscribe, ring that notification bell, like, comment, all that stuff. Share it to anybody that would like the paranormal stuff. And remember,
stay curious
and find the truth, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.